bringing this over into the natural immunity discussion, because all of this is relevant about that. If we all seem to have natural immunity, or the majority based on a lot of different things, why are we pretending like we're all in danger? Scientific reports. This is from June 23rd, 2021. Immunodominant T-cell epitopes from the SARS-CoV-2 spike antigen reveal robust pre-existing T-cell immunity in unexposed individuals. Similar to the one I've shown you before about antibodies. We'll get to that in a second. The point being, whether or not you've been exposed. Now, here's what they say, which explains it. Our findings suggest that SARS-CoV-2 reactive T cells are likely to be present in many individuals because of their prior exposure to flu and CMV viruses. Okay, so they're telling you that you have T cell immunity long before COVID-19. Okay, so think about that in the context of this. And just so we understand it, the role, and this is on a Center for Evidence-Based Medicine. What's the role of T cells and antibodies and immunity? Now, this is important to understand. Like B cells, which produce antibodies, T cells are central players in the immune response to viral infection. Okay, so it's important to understand that this is a big deal. This would suggest that you are not affected the same way as anybody else because you already had pre-existing T cell immunity. And there's a lot, I've seen 3 other studies coming out like this. Okay, so that's telling you something very important. Then we tie that in with the conversation that both the WHO, Nature, and plenty of other people have pointed out. Here's the COVID-19 natural immunity page, which, by the way, on the WHO site replaced the immunity passport page. It says within 4 weeks following infection, 90 to 99% of individuals infected with SARS-CoV-2 developed detectable neutralizing antibodies. Okay, so we know that anybody who's had this or told they did, play with that one, have 90 to 99% within weeks neutralizing antibodies, which is the end result of what this dangerous injection is what they claim they're trying to do. If you've had it, okay? So you have people here who have pre-existing T-cell immunity long before this. Anybody who's had it has immunity anyway. And as we know, based on the Nature study here, we've talked about many times, you probably make antibodies for a lifetime because it's in your bone marrow. This is, if you could read, I've gone over this many times, okay? So if you had it, the argument is that you have antibodies already, probably for the rest of your life. You already had pre-existing T cells, right? Combine that with the idea that you also, a majority of uninfected adults, show pre-existing antibody reactivity. Okay, this is, the science they keep saying that they're trusting, right? Where is it on the media then? Where is it if they're trusting this science, right? Pre-existing T cell immunity, unexposed individuals, a majority of uninfected individuals on top of that have pre-existing antibody reactivity. Okay, majority. Then you add on the people who might have gotten it, if you want to believe into that part of the story, and say 90, possibly 99% of them have already gotten antibodies. And it lasts for the rest of your life. So what are we talking about here? Can you not clearly see that based on the research around this topic that the argument is most everybody in this country probably already has antibodies or T? I mean, this is painful how obvious they are just ignoring anything that challenges what they're saying, just like Caitlin Johnstone pointed out. It's absolutely staggering to me, not because I don't think they're capable, but because of how obvious it is. It's coming out. I mean, the seams have busted open. I don't even know what's holding this together anymore. It's just crazy to me. And yet they're telling you need to get this because you're all going to die. Except it doesn't seem that way based on the scientific research, but this is what we're getting. Here's the account called God says, when the Delta variant inevitably explodes in the US, right? The same dum-dums who refuse to get vaccinated will claim that COVID's resurgence is proof the vaccines didn't work. Foresight predicated on the stupidity of mankind should have its own word. Stupid casting. Notre Dame-ass. So funny, right? The point is that this is a guy who is just leaning into this narrative, okay? Now, let me ask you something first. If the Delta variant is inevitably going to explode in the US, and he's arguing that that's only because of people who got refused to get vaccinated, right? The argument would be that because they refused to get vaccinated, therefore they didn't have antibodies or T cell reactivity, or was it immunity? T cell immunity. Okay. That's the argument, because then that not being there is what causes this to mutate in your body, even though we somehow didn't get sick. And then it continues and causes new things, and then somehow affects those who are vaccinated. And then it becomes our fault that they got vaccinated. It didn't work. Okay, except that's completely debunked by the reality that we all probably already had it being antibodies or T-cell immunity. So if a majority of uninfected adults before COVID-19 had pre-existing antibody reactivity and unexposed people show robust T-cell immunity, that would therefore mean that we weren't able to do this, bud. It wouldn't work that way because we already had the thing you thought you were getting from that dangerous injection that you probably aren't telling people has affected your life. See, this is the problem with people like this making their Jesus, I can't think of the word all of a sudden, patronizing tweets about how smart they are about all the dum-dums out there, when the reality is the scientific research that he thinks he's trusting, but he's not even looking at, shows that he's wrong. And I haven't even gotten into the second part. See, and this is just about, this is, they all laugh, oh yeah, let's make fun of the dum-dums. How sad. These are the kind of people that will never even realize, no matter what happens, that they were always the one in the wrong. So at the end of the day, the people, the bottom line is they're going to blame people like us, despite the actual research, for causing this to happen. Now, the secondary part about this is just remembering that it's like based on the research and their narrative, it's simply not possible that we could be causing this, right? On top of that, we have to realize the Delta variant is not even what they claim it is. So he's debunked from both sides of this, but who cares? Because Fox said, because CNN said, right? That's the reality. As this person said, this is a disappointing take. Thought God was smarter than this. No poisonous jab for me.